Let's get into it, y'all. Can the middle class afford homes? First, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how much it quote unquote takes to be. I think it defines it as being rich in the middle class. So we're going to go to what is we've done a handful of CBS articles. We've done a handful of bank rate articles too. I would say bank rate is second to good old faithful CNBC, but we've done a lot of CBS, a good amount, I think, of CBS articles. All right. Here's how much income it takes to be considered rich in your state. This is by Christopher. Christopher with a K. Christopher might be a woman in this case with a K. Christopher J. Brooks, edited by Amy Peachy. This April 26, 2024. All right. Many Americans aspire to join the ranks of the wealthy, but the income threshold for being considered rich depends on a lot on where you live. True. Shout out to COLA. That's cost of living adjustment, or just COLA, right? Cost of living. All right. For those people who do work for the government gives out a cost, the federal government get a cost of living adjustment based off of where you live at. Let's, go to OPM or OPM. Is it OPM? OPM. What is it? OPM? Yeah, OPM. You can Google that, see what the cost of living adjustment is for your particular area, not just states, like area slash region, smaller than region, but the state slash states. I think Maryland, the Baltimore, DC, Virginia, whatever they lump this area in DC, which is why I said it's all the same, technically the same place. I think we're second highest, third. I think it's definitely top five. I think like Alaska and Hawaii are like the only ones that are ahead of it, or maybe even Washington area. Regardless, this area is one of the highest because it costs a lot of money to live here. And you guys are going to see that when we get to these articles. Again, I always say Maryland, DC, and Virginia, even though they're three different places, in short, they're all the same place for where people who actually make up, the higher cost of living actually live at. DC is all the same, and then most of Maryland the same, and then Nova or Northern Virginia. It's all the same place. It takes, as this says, it also takes considerably more income to join the top 5% of earners than just a few years ago. According to new research from GoBankingRates.com, which examines state income data from the 5-year period from 2017 to 2022, the latter year represents the most recent household income data from the U.S. Census Bureau. So we still don't even have data from last year yet. And this article was in April. Does it take almost half a year to get data from previous year? I guess so. It's crazy to think that the most recent quote unquote data from the Census Bureau is from 2022. Wow. The easiest place to reach the top of the heap is West Virginia. West Virginia does border Maryland, right? But that's Western Maryland. All right, we don't count that. Also, by the way, too, disclaimer, is I can see the lightning going off, so this ends up being like chopped and edited weird. That's because the power went out / the Wi-Fi went out. And if y'all can hear the AC running in the back, that's because it's been hot as hell here in Maryland for like the last almost a week or so. All right, so sorry if y'all can hear the AC, but I rock the hoodie just for like signature because hoodies are my thing. But I normally turn the AC off because it's right there behind me. All right, easiest place again is saying West Virginia, Mississippi, Alabama. But West Virginia, you only need $329,620. That will qualify you as among its highest earners, but you'll have to earn more than twice that at $719,253 to join the top 5% in Washington, D.C. So what they're classifying here as the top income earners is the top 5%. All right. And again, this is from 2022, so even higher now, right? Because inflation in 2020 and 2023 was the highest it's been in a long time as far as what they calculated for. All right, Americans' fortunes have improved during the last 5 years, partially due to the federal government's pandemic. That's not a good thing. Shout out to what else the pandemic did. Shout out to the damn inflation. Due to the federal government's pandemic stimulus efforts that doled out billions in aid to businesses and taxpayers, said Andrew Murray. Did it give out? Never mind. I said I'm gonna stop saying never mind because when I rewatch these things, I forget what I was gonna say, even though I say never mind. People who, when it says taxpayers here, right? Businesses and taxpayers, do we consider people who don't actually pay taxes part of the taxpayers? Like it's saying the government gave out billions of dollars to businesses and taxpayers, said Andrew Murray, lead data content researcher for Go Banking Rates. Are people who are on government subsidies, Section 8, things like that, where the government pays essentially for their entire life, the taxpayers, right, and businesses, right? Businesses pay taxes too. But do we consider them part of the taxpayers? Are they not in the taxpayer population when they do these things? Because if you actually don't pay taxes, right? Let's say you pay taxes, right? You pay sales tax, things like that. But when we're usually talking taxpayers here, we're talking people who pay, property tax and income taxes, businesses for the taxes that business pay. So for people on government subsidies, are they in that taxpayer thing? Because if they are, that number is heavily inflated. Anyways, a lot of people, everyone, I believe, essentially, based on the calculations, who receive government subsidies, they would qualify for the stimulus checks that came out when President Trump was in office and then when President Biden was in office. Anyways, at the same time, the nation's top earning households are gaining a greater share of income, fueling rising income inequality, census data shows. Income inequality as far as what, across state to state or within the state in and of itself? The nation's top earning households are gaining a greater share of income. Anyways, COVID relief policies bolster the economy, leading to boosted stock prices, real estate, and savings. I wouldn't say it bolstered the economy. Maybe bolster usually has a positive connotation to it. Let me look at the definition of bolster. Provide with padded support. Nah, I guess if that's the definition. Synonyms of it. Yeah, help. Help is help. Strengthen, support, cushion, I wouldn't say. These conditions were especially favorable for the wealthiest of Americans who experienced dramatic income increases, especially considering the fact that many companies saw record profits. Yes, if you want one thing the stock market did was jump during the panorama. Went down some, I think, last year, 2022. Ooh, we're over halfway through 2024. So now when I'm thinking last year, it's hard for me to think. And the pandemic's got my whole, frame of mind around time messed up. To be sure, income isn't the same as wealth, which has also grown since the pandemic. True. Income is not wealth. Remember the episode Jordan and I did for podcast files. So the lady on Twitter was saying, income is not wealth, which is true. To be sure, income isn't the same. To be sure, income isn't the same as wealth, which has also grown since the pandemic. But earning a higher salary can help families build their assets, in theory, allowing them to buy homes. In theory, invest in education for their children and take other steps to cement their wealth. In theory, one would say the more, over 30% of people, maybe we should find another more recent article on that. But maybe it's over 30% of people, or maybe it's 30% of millennials who make over $100,000 living paycheck to paycheck. So no, making more money is not the answer. Now, this isn't talking about making this is talking about making six figures. This is making, over $500,000, almost $750,000 what we saw for DC at 719,000, almost $1 million, which is crazy.